In this video, we're going to talk about how to fill out the IRS Form W4 if you have two jobs. Now, there's two instances where you're going to fill out the IRS Form W4. Both are basically the same, but the first instance is if you had a job, now you have a new job. That actually counts as two jobs for filling out the W4. And if you actually have two jobs right now, so you have a job, you just picked up a second job, and you're trying to fill out the W4, knowing that you have two jobs, so how do you do it? I'm going to answer both in the same shot. We're going to go ahead and pull up the online estimator, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how to fill this out for the W4 for two jobs. So here we go. Pull it up on the screen. All right, so here's the tax withholding estimator. Now for this walkthrough, I'm going to go through as filing as single just to get through it quickly, but of course choose the filing status that you file under. Now for dependents, no one else can claim us as a dependent. And for this walkthrough, we're not going to have any dependents. Now, step 3 is the important part for multiple jobs. So if you have two jobs or have had a job, now you have a new job, you have two jobs now, you had two jobs previously, and now you have another job, that's 3 jobs. Add all the jobs you've had or have up for 2021, and that's the number that you want to put there. So for this walkthrough, I'm going to do 2. And that we don't have a pension, and we're going to go to the next section. And then this is the jobs that you have had or have right now. So it's all of them. You're going to add them all up. That's how many jobs you want listed here. Now, if you expect to hold this job through January 1st, December 31st, check off yes, otherwise say no. Now, if you worked last year and you just stopped working at that job this year, then you're going to put the start date of January 1st and whatever the end date was. Now, if you started in 2021, then of course put the start date, and if you have an end date, put an end date. For this walkthrough, I'm going to say yes, so you can see exactly what it looks like when we have two current jobs, because that's going to be the biggest change. If you don't work at a job anymore, just fill out the dates, and it's perfectly fine. I'll explain it at the very end. Now, the most recent pay stub, when did we get paid? Let's say that we got paid on the 1st. Go ahead and put that in there. And then you're going to look at how much money that you've earned in 2021. So if you expect to earn $100,000 at this job, but you don't work there the full year, then you're going to have to do a bit of math, because this is only calculating the amount that you're earning for 2021. That is it. So for this walkthrough, I'm just going to put in that we're earning $50,000 at this job. And that year to date, we withheld $2,500 and that $360 from our last pay stub. Now that is where you want to look to these numbers, year to date, and how much was withheld on the last paycheck. That's the amount that you're going to put in here. And again, this top number, this $50,000, is your gross amount, not the amount that hits your bank account. That is your net. So you want to put your gross, the biggest number that's on your pay stub or your last pay stub. Now, for the 401k or the HSA, those are reducing your adjusted gross income. So if you made contributions to the Roth side of your 401k, that's not the amounts that they're talking about here. Now, for your second job, you're going to do exactly the same thing. So do you expect to hold this job the entire year? For this walkthrough, I'm going to say yes, and I'll explain again why at the end. But if you had this job that you just started, you don't work there anymore, you're going to put those dates. If you expect to work there the rest of the year, but you just started, put the start date and the end date as December 31st of 2021. Now for year to date, we're going to put in, for 2021, we're going to put $100,000. Same way we did the math before. It's only how much you're earning at the job in 2021, not your annualized amount. A lot of people get confused on that. So I'm going to put $100,000, and then we're going to go down to the withholdings year to date. I'm going to put in $1,000, and that we've withheld $250. Of course, this math isn't correct. I'm just putting arbitrary numbers in there. So again, if your numbers look a lot different, don't worry. You probably didn't do anything wrong. Just look at the last pay stub. Now for the 401k and the HSA, again, I'm going to choose no just to get through this walkthrough. No adjustments to the income just for this walkthrough. And then for the standard deduction, which is what we're going to choose, it's $12,550. If you chose a different filing status, that number will be different. Now we're going to choose next. see the tax credits. We can see them. If any apply to you, go ahead and fill those out. We're going to choose next. Now here is the reason why I chose 2 current jobs. If you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see this page. Now we have job 1 right here and job 2 right there. And there's these little links, Form W4 and Form W4. We're going to print out both of these. Now, if you don't have a printer for whatever reason, just get a W4 and you're going to use this information. This does not submit anything. This is literally just a calculator. As soon as we go off this page, this data is lost forever. So you want to make sure that you're printing these things out and pulling this information off to give to your employer. Now, if they have an online form of their own, that's perfectly fine, but you're still going to use this information to put into your online portal if you have one, like a payroll provider. So let's go ahead and click on one of these links to see what it looks like. Now, at first glance, it could look blank and it could be blank. If it is blank, just fill out all your basic information because there's no adjustments that you need to make. But if you're looking at this one, see on line 4C, it's making the adjustment for us. So it says extra withholdings, and that's because I put in a really low number before and we hadn't withheld enough. So it wants to play basically catch up on each paycheck by withholding an additional $401 to make sure at the end of the year that I'm not going to have to owe a big amount at the end of the year and possibly also get penalties. So it's really important that this is accurate. Now let's go back to the online estimator, look at the second link, click on it. I have no idea what this is going to show. And look at that. This one shows on line 4C as making an additional withholding of $1,401. Now it will do the math for you beyond that. So it's really important that you fill this out correctly. Now here's the thing about the W4. There is no way from this W4 to figure out whether or not you have another job. So if you're concerned about telling your employer, you don't have to. Just fill out the W4. Now let's say that you have the 2 jobs, you just got a new job, but you've already had the other job and you already fill out the W4. Go back and resubmit the new W4 to your current employer as well as your new employer. And here's another tip. Go to my other videos for the IRS Form W4. I'm gonna leave a link in the description at the bottom to our website that organizes all the videos on the W4 so you can go through all those other sections. I just wanted to point out what you do a little bit differently if you have multiple jobs. And it's a good idea to go ahead and check those pay stubs as you move forward because you can come back here to the IRS Form W4 estimator and plug in your information in, say, a couple of weeks or a month down the road to make sure it's still as accurate as you originally had thought. So if you thought maybe you made a mistake, you're not withholding enough, you're wondering if you're going to have to withhold more, or something financially changed, maybe you're earning more money, maybe you got a bonus, or maybe you didn't get the bonus that you thought you were going to get, you can go ahead and update your W4 at each paycheck. You just have to resubmit it to your employer. Now, some employers might give you some pushback if you do this too much, but they should be able to accept it. Just talk to your employer saying that you need to make an update to your withholdings. They should be able to process it with the payroll provider and withhold the correct amount. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and leave your comments down at the bottom.